natural sunscreen. It's a chemical called anthocyanin. What it does is it protects the new baby leaves from being burned by the sun. So when you see new emergent leaves that are red or brown, it's the plant protecting its babies. Pardon me? What would a sunburned plant look like? It might get a little yellower, a little whiter. You'd see some cells had died, because what happens is when a plant gets too much sun or not enough water, all these plants have breathing holes on the undersides of them called stomata, and what happens is if the plant is losing too much water, it shuts down those stomata, and then the plant will yellow or brown. Think of in a northern climate when plants lose their leaves. Those are the leaves shutting down to protect the trunk from winter cold. So it's a self-protective mechanism. Also, when you get plants in sun, I'll pass these either way. This is an aloe called Aloe shaboutii from South Africa. It turns red in full sun. So if you give this sun and not too much water, you get a beautiful red rose-colored plant. Let's see, other things here. Oh yeah, juvenile plants versus this. These are two. This is a great example. I saw a bunch of these in a median that had flowers in them, or flower pods, seed pods at the end of the year. They were just going to die and the seed was going to get scattered to the winds. So I collected them and we grew a bunch of these. This is Aloe striata. This is a juvenile form. Notice how it's all in alignment, kind of cool looking. Over time it will become like this. And this has a beautiful rose-colored flower. And you see the edges are kind of red. That's all related to the sun and protection from the sun. Yeah, question?
When it's plant turns red, is it okay or is it about to die? Is it healthy? Is it okay? Or
it's just the plant's way of dealing with sun. Red is fine. And of course it varies from plant to plant.
So the red is a sun only, not a water related.
Water and sun, because again you've got this balance. You've got sun, dry, heat, wind on one side. Then you've got shade, water, cool, still air. So any combination of these, for example, so this plant grows in full sun if you're growing it in Miami or in Manhattan Beach. In the northwest San Fernando Valley where I grow them, we have them under a bit of shade to compensate for the fact that we don't have as much humidity in the air, so it's drier, hotter air, so I give it a little bit of shade. It's all kind of a balancing act.
okay, question.
Yes?
Earlier you mentioned the snail. How about slug? Does slug have any useful
The best thing
Slug is a snail
you
without a shell.
can do with that is there's a product out, and it's an iron phosphate pellet going under various brand names of escargot or sluggo, and you distribute that in your garden, and the slugs and snails eat it, and they get permanent constipation. And what happens is if nothing can come out, then nothing can come in, and they die. And it gives your soils iron and phosphorus, which our soils are notoriously lacking in. Here's a funny little guy called Echeveria topsy-turvy. Echeveria is a species of succulent that grows in a rosette fashion on Rocky Mountain tops in Mexico and Central America. It's another drought-resistant one. Anything that you see that's blue or gray also generally is a hint that the plant is sun-resistant, sun-tolerant.
Question?
Here's a cute little one.
Question?
Yes.
Can you tell how do you tell the difference between a cactus and a succulent?
Well, it's like, okay, cactus and succulent. A cactus is a succulent. It's a type of succulent. So human beings, men and women. Men and women are both branches of human being. A cactus is a type of succulent. Generally, true cacti are from the Americas. Whereas, and here's a cute little Hayworthia with zebra stripes. Whereas succulents are Succulent, I mean, all of these plants are technically succulents, because succulent is something that holds water in. So, but, you know, as a rule of thumb, something's really spiny, it's a cactus, which is a form of succulent.
Right. So all cactus are succulent, but not all succulent are cactus.
Exactly.
So would that consider a cactus?
That is considered a succulent because it doesn't have, it has thorns, not spines, not these little, yeah. Here's another thought. Here's a thought about plants, and this is something I've learned over the years, and you'll confirm this if you think about it. In its purest essence, a plant is nothing more than a glorified, sophisticated water pump. It is sucking up water and nutrients and then breathing them out through its portholes. So if you see a plant that is sick in some way, something has screwed up with that water pump somewhere. Something has stopped the activity of going, because you've got sun and heat drawing the plant up and creating photosynthesis and causing the plant to breathe out moisture and oxygen from its pores, and then receiving the sun down, the photosynthesis bringing down energy to the plant, okay? So if something, it's just a magnificent water pump, and if it's not growing well, something has short-circuited. One other interesting thought, think about plants in terms of 4 things that they will do. Any of these plants you're looking at will be expressing their energy in one of 4 ways. They are either growing, reproducing, storing energy, or fighting disease. Okay, so now we're coming into a season of reproduction and growth. Reproduction meaning anything that's flowering here, this is a plant wanting to reproduce. This plant is out there saying, come on bees, come and pollinate me, okay? And the flower will put out a color or a fragrance or something that attracts the pollinator. Now when a plant is flowering, do you notice that it doesn't have as much green growth going on? That's because it's focusing on, well, we're all adults here. I mean, you know, if you're thinking of reproducing, you're not thinking of other things, okay? Now, on the other, that's the X-rated part of the tour. Now, on the other hand, Mike, sorry. Mike is